we go. We're back.
I decided to adjust my chair right as the intro was going. So it was all, I was able to recover just in time, but it was almost this.
Right? My chair, like all my chairs, because I'm a big guy, slowly loses the hydraulics over time. So I always set my camera for me at the lowest possible setting, because the last thing I want is to slowly sink in real time while we're on the air. But hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Eternal Baseball Podcast. As always, we want to thank the diehards. Cameron, hello, good to see you. Tino's happy to be here because his Tigers wrapped up the American League North with today's win. Dave McDonald's here. Good to see you too, Dave.
Welcome, all of you.
And we're doing something a little different today. So we try to get every team on the Eternal Baseball Podcast during the season. And the only team we didn't get was Texas. Texas had having a tough year at 66 and 94. And there, Matt, when I set it up 4 weeks ago, I'm like, we got 4 teams to get. Let me see. I want to try to get the best games possible on the air. Tonight, it would have been Yankees, Rangers. And we've had the Yankees on before. And the Yankees aren't a lot of Yankee fans out there. But if you aren't a Yankee fan, you probably don't like the Yankees. So we're going to pull in big numbers on Yankees, Rangers tonight. So we threw that out. And we're doing something brand new, speed dating, basically.
I'm a little nervous, to be frank.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, this could be good. It could be awful. See how it goes. But basically, we've got 8 games on the schedule. This is from the Monday schedule that have playoff relevance or could. 2 of them are if necessary, depending on what happens in the other games. Now, those games will get played, but we may not play them live. So what we're doing here, because we always go for a 1-hour podcast. We want to see, want to sim these games. So basically, you and I will set the lineups like we're going to play it, and then we put the computer in charge of both teams and hit sim, and then the box score pops up and it tells us what happened. So this way, we'll be able to go over the stakes. What's on the line. If people have relevant pitching or lineup considerations they want to throw at us in the comments, we're all ears, man. So that's the scoop for the night. And for you Yankee fans out there like Rob, he already saw the Yankees win today, so that's okay by him.
Welcome, Rob.
And then it is sort of the classic breakup line, right?
They had a pretty good real life season last year, so I don't think they're gonna hold it against us too much. Yeah,
it's not you, it's us. As we go, and we want to see other teams. So could have as many as 8 games tonight. That'll be fun. So let me. And I simmed the games for tomorrow. That I don't want to say they don't matter because all baseball's awesome, right? But they don't have any bearing on the playoffs, right?
We don't get any under the table money from MLB yet, so we don't have to go that far, right?
You can say the game doesn't matter.
We are available, MLB. Just let us know.
Call me. Yeah. We said they don't matter. It didn't matter to Tampa, who got 1 hit by Juan Guzman tomorrow. So good for you, Juan, who's not going silently into that good night. Speaking of people
good time.
I got dogs running around. I got an NBA Game 7 in front of me that I'm not watching with the sound down. There's a lot going on. Look at this. This is the kind of stuff I have to deal with. But okay. So anyway, let's take a look at the week that was here. And this is I always call this an eye chart. This is the worst it'll ever be. It is so nasty. Look at this thing. I'm so proud of it. It stings the eyes. It's made with bits of real Panthers. So
it's like one of those posters where you're supposed to cross your eyes and it forms.
Yeah. There might be something in there. I don't know. And really, at this point in the season, it doesn't matter that much. If you look at the team names over here, the ones in red are teams that have been eliminated totally. Don't even have a shot of the wild card. They're done like dinner. And then the ones, look at this. I don't even have this all accurate, right? Detroit won their division. So let's show them the respect they deserve. Bold about there. There we go. So Atlanta's still in play for that National League South. They're, I think, a game behind Houston, so that's why they're not high lit. The Twins are, I think, 2 games back of Oakland in the West with 2 games to play. So they need 2 wins and 2 Oakland losses, but they're still technically alive. Same thing with Oakland, who are technically alive. And then your wild card teams. Now, in the American League, we know who they are. It's Baltimore and Boston. But Baltimore is up a game or 2 on Boston. So we still have to, still TBD is who's the top wild card and who's the second wild card. That does matter because it changes who they might play in that first round. Same thing in the National League North, where the Cubs and Cardinals are both fantastic, but they're only 1 game apart from each other. So whoever wins that division is going to get a bye out of the wild card round, and whoever loses it is still going to be the second best team in the National League, but they're going to be a wild card team, and they're going to have to play in that first round. But anyway, we'll get to all of that.
Man, Tampa Bay just wants to control Z this whole season. My goodness.
And they just got 1 hit by Toronto, and Toronto is 63-97. So they're not winning any beauty pageants either. For the week that was, the teams that faded this week badly, Colorado 1-5, they've had a tough year. But the Guardians went 1-5 and turned what was a super tight race with the Tigers into a laugher. So Cleveland fell apart. The Dodgers have locked up their spot. There ain't nothing they can do. Won the West, and they went 1-5 this week, as I guess they were out boozing most of the week. So good times in LA. The Brewers had a pretty credible year going, but they ended 0-6 last week. And then the A's went nuts. The A's have won 7 straight games. So they're out of nowhere, almost pulling away with a very mediocre American League West. More on that in a little bit. And then the Cardinals, who are chasing the Cubs hard, went 6-0 this week. So that one looks like it might come right down the wire. Matter of fact, I believe that was the first ever 1-game playoff we did in Eternal Baseball was Cubs Cardinals in year 2. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. Now I'm going to close this down and it'll show you the standings, but they're going to look they're kind of wonky because I played 8 of tomorrow's games already, but they're all games that don't matter. So don't pay too much attention to this one. Will I save my changes? Sure, I will. You bet. All right, so pay no attention to the man behind the curtain here because these are all messed up. We'll explain it as we get out here to the actual scoreboard.
Actually, we got a couple more comments. Yes, if you know anybody that would like to give us over the table money, Rob.
Yeah, whatever. We didn't care about the table.
We're all ears, man.
We're all about the money, right? Yeah.
And welcome, Dave. Yeah.
And can't, yeah.
I don't. Do kids even know what those locks are anymore? I don't. Do they?
They don't, but they know all their internet passwords, so they're way up on me. Right? Phillies are good in both places. Who knew? Although I read something, the Phillies, I think they have the best record in baseball, maybe. But I think like 2/3 of their games so far this MLB season are against sub 500 teams. So now you can only play who's on your schedule, right? And Philly has this current or recent Phillies team has a history of starting kind of slow. So good for them, but let's not crown them just yet, right? Look at this. People coming clean on the Eternal Baseball podcast.
Like my kids don't have lockers. It's the weirdest thing. They just don't. I'd say so. They didn't give you a locker. Like no, you have to like especially ask for one if you want one.
That's weird. My kids have lockers, but they don't use them. They carry like 80-pound backpacks around. It's good for the calves anyway. So good for them. So, hey, this is why you're seeing a lot of the games here for tomorrow already got played, right? Because they're games that have no bearing on the playoffs. So I got them done early. I can't stay up too late. This doesn't happen naturally, right? I need all the beauty sleep possible.
You've got a routine. It's like an hour.
Come on. I need more sleep. So anyway, so we're going to go through them and in order, we'll let you know, what they mean and why they mean it. So our first game.
Here we go.
Kansas City at Baltimore.
I got butterflies, man. This is nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Oh, let me base this down before I dive in completely into the minutia of tomorrow's schedule. Here's how it works. The teams with the two teams with the best records, I'm already screwing it up. The 2 division winners with the best records in the American League and the National League will skip the first round of the playoffs. They get a bye. So in the American League, that's the Yankees and that's the Tigers. So they won their divisions. they're going to skip the first round. In the National League, it's the Phillies who wrapped up their division a while ago, and then it's whoever wins the National League North. The Cubs currently have a 1-game lead on the Cardinals. So either Cubs or Cardinals and Phillies, they're skipping that first round. So our first round will have basically, if you look at them as seeds, our number 3 and number 4 seeds, the 2 division winners who didn't get a bye, are going to host the wild card teams. And the better wild card by record, number 1 wild card, will play the lowest division winner, essentially the 4. So essentially the 5 plays the 4, and the 6 is going to play the 3. That's how it works out in the playoffs. I know that didn't make sense, but you can rewind it and watch it back. So here's what. Yeah, it's fine. So it's Royals and Orioles. A Baltimore win or a Boston loss, that we may sim in a minute, wraps up the number 1 AL wild card spot for the O's. So that's what's at stake here. They're both playing in the first round, but it may change their opponent. So Kansas City and Baltimore, load it up. So the pitchers, I actually already looked up the pitchers. So it's Zach Greinke for Kansas City. When they say usage penalties, it means he's thrown more innings than they expected him to. And it'll give him like a 10 to 20% dip on his stats for today.
So I did a little thing on Big Ed Walsh today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, that guy threw 462 innings 1 year.
and he looked so happy about it. Right?
My goodness.
He looks like a serial killer in every photo I've seen of him, right? Just furious at the world.
I mean, there's usage with an exclamation point, and then there's usage.
Right? 460 innings. Right? Yeah, and he's always up there battling for the Cy Young Award in our league. He's got great numbers. All right, so Dave McNally versus Zach Greinke. So for Baltimore, they're facing a right-hander. We'll sort them by OPS versus right. And here we go. So it is Ken Williams has been their monster all year, and he's getting tired too, but he usually plays in center. Brady Anderson leads off, and they usually end up with him in left. Boog Powell, who has Boog's Barbecue out in center field, where he would work the barbecue stand. He would sign stuff all the time, napkins, sandwiches.
Apparently, Manny Sanguillen has something similar in Pittsburgh.
Does he? Good for him.
Yeah.
I saw the quote on you had a Manning post last week where they eventually late in his career they put him in right field, and he was like, "Man, there's nobody to talk to."
Yes.
That's pretty slick. Okay, so then Boog actually is going to end up probably DHing because Eddie Murray, obviously, you want at first base. Gus Triandos, who should be better known than he is, a really brilliant catcher from the 60s, I think. Ken Singleton ends up in right. Brian Roberts is the second baseman. Brooks Robinson at third. Cal Ripken at short. That's pretty easy.
Couple more comments here. Right, Rob.
Yeah, here we go. That's why, Ed Walsh is always a headshot because you don't want to get in where his arm used to
Pud
be.
Galvin. That's amazing.
Great name. Right? Pud
600 innings.
That's outstanding. All right, Kansas City. So George Brett finally got hurt. So it's a season-ending injury, but that's because their season ends Tuesday. But we are going to give him Frank White, which is awesome. So Mayberry's the first baseman. Tartable cleans up and DHs because he's a rotten fielder. Sweeney catches.
I always feel like the Royals should have more talent. Every time we put their...
Well, and they're in that South Division with Birmingham, right? So I always think the Royals, this is the year, the Royals are going to make a challenge, but it ain't really been that way. Jermaine Dye goes to right field.
I love the fact King Kelly is the thing with our
the Cubs got a couple of people hurt. He's on the active roster. I put him there.
That's one of our favorite bits, man. I gotta say it. Just King Kelly. Too good.
We may play him tonight. Who knows?
We haven't had Sherry McGee on for a while.
Right? Now I remember you were a Tartable fan in his youth. But I know you're also a big Hal McRae fan.
Oh, Hal McRae, dude. Best slider in the history of baseball.
This is great because it's against the Orioles. He might end Cal's consecutive games played.
There you go.
Let's see. Third base. Well, shortstop is Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, Cameron has a question. Let's see.
Oh, what's this? Did I do this wrong? Because they're facing McNally. Good call. Hold on. Clear lineup. It may not be that different, but good catch. So it's Amos Otis in center, Mike Sweeney catching. Maybe Sweeney goes down a little bit.
Man.
Yeah, Sweeney clean it up. Tartable DH because he's awful in the field. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop. Oh, Sal Perez catching. Oh. Well, Sal Perez catches. Sweeney plays first. That's fine. Whit Merrifield at second. Boy, Royals fans are going to be mad that you took Frank White off the field.
Rob mentioned that.
But it wasn't me. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, High Pockets Kelly. That's a great name.
Yeah, he's on the Giants. Actually, on their active roster. Pretty good. Come here, Jermaine Dye. You're in right field. Perez is catching. Kevin Seitzer, who's still, I think, a hitting coach in MLB somewhere.
He was a good hitter.
Really was. And then Roto favorite Hal McRae.
Oh.
Pitching is Greinke. All right. So I don't know if that took 3 minutes, but we're ready for baseball.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Yeah, play ball. Options.
Kansas City, center fielder, Amos Otis.
And roll.
The final score from Camden Yards.
All right.
Baltimore 4, Kansas City 2. Dave McNally is the winner. He is now 9-3. Zach Greinke is the loser.
Greinke.
He is now 12-13 on the season. Zach
Seitzer had 3 hits. Pretty good day.
There you go.
Mike Sweeney is home run number 22 on the season. Boog Powell hit number 18. Cal Ripken Jr. hit number 13. Ken Williams hit number 40.
13 homers ain't much for Ripken, but
4 minutes.
all right, so there you go. So the Orioles win, and that means they lock up the number 1 seed, or not number 1 seed, the top wild card spot, which means they'll play the weakest division winner, which will be probably Oakland. So it should be, that's an old school matchup. It should be Orioles, Oakland. And the wild card series, the first round, is best of 3, and all games are played at the division winners stadium. So no home game for the wild card teams. That's why you gotta win your division, man. So, but Baltimore also, I think, is going to win like 25 more games than Oakland. So who's the favorite? Anyway, congrats to the Orioles. They wrap up that number one wild card in the American League. Look at this. It'd take a while to get there.
I got Gibson.
Yeah, dude, later on, Dodgers Cardinals today is Koufax versus Gibson, which must have happened semi-regularly back in the late 60s, right? So
I think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Koufax Gibson. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so let me put my Yankee cap on right now because we don't have to play the Red Sox game. That's good. Saves us time. So Boston and Birmingham doesn't matter to the playoff seeding because Birmingham has already won the South. Boston is now the owner of the number 2 wild card. But Atlanta and the Mets is a big game. So an Atlanta loss and a Houston win will wrap up the National League South for the Astros. They're up 1 game with 2 games to play.
And they were doing terribly for so long.
They were. Houston really came on. Not that, kind of like the Yankees. If you're not an Astros fan, probably rooting against the Astros. So if you're anti-Astro, you need to be pulling for Atlanta here. So this is, I don't know anything about Lou Burdett, but he joined the rotation late and he's throwing really well. So in a big game, I know I'm picking Lou Burdett over John Smoltz.
John Rocker has a 12.3 walks per 9.
Yeah, that's not helping him.
Jeez.
He only pitched 15 innings.
Oh, okay.
So, but relievers, their numbers get blown up like crazy because they just don't pitch that much in international baseball. Because you got all these boomers, and by boomers I mean from the 1910s. The greatest generation likes to pitch 9 innings every 3 days. So it's Lou Burdett against Dwight.
I mean, that wasn't even the greatest generation, right? That was the
No, it was their parents.
Yeah, I don't even know what that generation is called.
That's a good point. We'll have to look that up. So Dwight Gooden against Lou Burdett. The Mets are facing a right-hander. So, wow, they've got so many guys hurt. But Kevin McReynolds is their best hitter against righties. David Wright has their best on base, so he'll lead off, even though he's tired. So, yeah.
Hey, what's is it the Post that does the page 6? I don't know that much. Yeah, okay. Was McReynolds on page 6 or was it just the sports?
I don't remember, but it was a great headline. It just said, "Is McReynolds fat?" Only in the Post.
Oh man.
Todd Hundley's had an amazing year for the Mets, so he usually plays, even though that puts both catchers on the field. Hundley usually DHs because Piazza is a better catcher. And then Beltran, who Mets fans are still mad, took that, called third strike in the playoffs. Keith Hernandez, and don't get mad, Mets fans. Mets fans go nuts when I play Alonso over Keith Hernandez. And I'm like, I'm not ripping. I'm not trying to be mean to Keith Hernandez. But Pete Alonso hits 50 homers, man. I can't activate Dykstra. I just will Cleon Jones in left. Oh, we already have McReynolds in left. Hang on, left. Oh, I missed Strawberry. That's my problem. It should be Beltran, or hang on. Man, I've been doing so many of these. It's all starting to blur. Beltran, Strawberry's your right fielder.
I'm just glad we no longer have to do double switches.
Right? Those hurt my head.
Oh, I mean, thankfully you were here, because if I was trying to sort that, man.
So what do we have left? Second base and shortstop. So that's Alfonso and Reyes. Hey, if we were playing this game, we could run Jose Reyes all the time. But we got to pick it up. Oh, here we go. Everybody's mad at Keith Hernandez.
There's some other good comments, too.
Yeah, it probably was. Is McReynolds fat?
That's so bad.
All right, so Atlanta, and they've got some guys. Well, Acuna is hurt, and other guys are tired. But they're facing Dwight Gooden. That's a righty. So it's Brian McCann cleaning up, hitting into the shift, no doubt. We'll split up the lefties. That puts the crime dog at second. Bob Elliott will lead off, play third, and Hank Aaron will hit third.
Oh, we got to get Eddie Matthews in there.
Yeah, I can DH Elliott, or I can play Aaron in center, even though he's generally considered a right fielder. He plays a decent center field, so I can right field Elliott, and that gives us Eddie Matthews at third, because he only plays third, but he's a great third baseman. Hugh Duffy can play left, because I'm a big fan of Duffy.
We're going to put Larry.
He's usually the DH, because he wasn't a very good fielder anywhere. So the DH helps him. And as usual, I need a second baseman and a shortstop, and they're not very good. Herman Long and Ozzie Albies. As long a history as the Braves have, they're really light on second baseman.
I'll tell you, Mark Lemke. One of these years, Mark Lemke is going to have a big year. Right. Is he even in the minors?
he's the guy that generated the name for Homestar Runner.
Oh, that's right. You're telling me that.
That's amazing. Got that going for him.
That's great.
Yeah, Hugh Duffy. He's incredible. All right, so we've got both squads. Let's light it up. Play ball.
It's a tough picture of McReynolds because I'm not sure. You asked the question, and I looked at that picture, and I'm not sure.
Either way, the stash is bad, but tough news, Atlanta fans.
Oh man.
Brent picks up the loss. He is now 1-2 on the season.
Man, Dwight Gooden. Woo.
He had a good year. Overall, the Mets had a pretty good year. They just got nothing from Tom Seaver, which is ridiculous. But and sometimes that's how it rolls. Sometimes Ty Cobb hits 260. I'm just saying. All right. So with that loss, that means a Houston win wraps up the NL South division, and they get the Washington Nationals. So, cover your ears, Braves fans. This might be it. Let's see how Houston and Washington shake out. So it's, from a pitching standpoint, it's Larry Dierker. Make sure I say that right. For Houston. And then over on Washington, it's fantasy baseball when Strasburg's actually starting, right? Or Strasburg, sorry. And I got to drop somebody off the Houston roster. They must have got someone back off the injured list, which gives them one too many. So save your Houston's cheating again post. I'm going to take care of it, okay? No problem. Okay, so Washington's facing a right-hander. Victor Robles is their best hitter. He must have like 4 at bats. But yeah, we'll see Victor. But we'll definitely play Harper. And if you're new to Eternal Baseball, Harper is a national until he's spent more MLB seasons somewhere else. So given his long-term contract, he'll be a Philly in Eternal Baseball eventually, just not yet. There's Juan Soto hitting second.
And where's Juan Soto going? That Yankee outfield at some point.
He looks really happy in New York. Now it'll all depend on the zeros on the end of the contract, I think. But
I get the sense they're going to pay him if he keeps this up. You get that sense?
I hadn't really watched him like games in a row before, but he's all of it, right? Like when he misses, when they have a called strike on him, he stares at the ump, right? He's kind of a jerk a little bit, but he's almost always right. And so it's kind of like when they would call a close pitch a ball on Gwynn or Boggs. And the catcher would be like, "Come on, Blue," and he's like, "If Mr. Gwynn doesn't think it's a strike," so there is a little bit of that. All right, I need a center fielder, so I'll give you Victor Robles with his 4-game average, and it looks like Eaton would be the DH, which puts Nick the Stick Johnson first base. Wow, what are the odds on Anthony Rendon and Nick Johnson being healthy and playing in the same game that Strasburg starts? Wow. Come on now. It also puts Wilson Ramos catching. And again, almost everybody. Second base and shortstop come last. So that's Trey Turner, who again, once he's more Philly than National, we'll move him. And then second base is Danny Espinoza. Now remember, the Nationals only pull from 2005 to current. So they got dealt the shortest straw in Eternal Baseball.
And they're going to lose Harper and
they're going to lose Harper and Turner.
And Soto, right?
And Soto, and maybe they'll probably keep who's Max. They'll probably keep Scherzer. So they can have him. Over in
always have Zimmerman.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Bagwell was hurt and just got off the DL. And I had activated somebody, not Dickie Thon, which will make someone in our fantasy baseball league very happy. But who did I activate? Oh, it was Hunter Pence. So Hunter Pence is back inactive. That's okay because you got Bagwell back. So it's Cesar Cedeno, who's had a great year. Lance Berkman, his on base is always ridiculous. So he leads off and usually plays the outfield. Bagwell's at first base. Jordan Alvarez is a DH because, God, have you ever seen him try to catch a fly ball? Oh, so he's right where he belongs. Alex Bregman, who someone needs to tell is in a contract year because it's been kind of rough up there. Altuve is the second baseman. And I love this. Biggio catches
Love it.
because he's a decent rated catcher. Who knew? Kyle Tucker will play right. And then I need a shortstop. That's Carlos Correa. There we go.
Looking good.
All righty. And yeah, Tina knows what's up. I can just see Cobb sneaking into the Astros dugout. All right, so here we go. Astros can wrap up the division with a win.
Strasburg. Leading off for Houston. Left fielder. Number 17. Lance Berkman.
The big Puma. Yeah. All right, let's see. Play it.
Final score from Nationals Park.
All right.
Washington.
Oh, wow. All right.
Hunter Harvey is the winner. He is now 2
So-
on the season. Billy Wagner
Oh, I
has
should-
lost. He is now 5-6 on the season.
Ooh.
Kyle Tucker hit home run number 15 on the season. Trey Turner hit number 14. Juan Soto hit 2. He now has 27 on the season. Victor Robles hit number 1. Time of the game, 3 hours, 44 minutes.
So Juan Soto hit a 3-run homer off Billy Wagner in the bottom of the ninth
Love it.
to break a 7-7 tie. That means the Astros and Braves will go to Tuesday, the last day of the regular season, with the Braves needing a win and an Astros loss to tie for the division and force a 1-game playoff.
Sweet.
All right, that's the kind of drama we like having. And yeah, it is kind of the World Series all over again, right? That's what we're used to. That's how it works. All right, so that moves us down to the Oakland A's and the White Sox. Yeah, Cameron Fletcher's twisting that knife. Anybody sad about that Houston loss? Doesn't sound like it. So here we have Oakland and Chicago. So Oakland, I wrote this down. An Oakland win or a Twins loss wraps up the AL West for the A's. So they got 2 chances to clinch here. It's Oakland and the White Sox won 92 games and they're going to miss the playoffs. They're like the Reds are like that in the National League. Sorry, Chicago. You actually have a really good year. And today it's pitching wise. I wrote this down. Charles Bender, who's getting tired, but a lot of guys are. And he'll pitch against Wilbur Wood. Of course, Wilbur Wood.
Cameron has a good point. Yeah, this could be the one.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out what we want to do with that. If they actually are playing in Sacramento, if we want to keep calling them Oakland for a couple of years. I feel for any good fan base that loses their team, my heart goes out to. So I think we'll probably keep calling them Oakland. And now, when they're actually in Las Vegas, if that's what happens, yeah, we'll change it. We don't call them the Philadelphia A's anymore, or the Kansas City A's anymore. And we changed the Indians to the Guardians when the franchise changed that name in MLB. So we'll follow their lead, but
Salt Lake's been sneaky. Maybe they'll undercut the Vegas there.
If Salt Lake is supposed to be one of the finalists or one of the heavy considerations for an expansion team, and no better way to prove that than to host the A's for a couple of years. But
that actually, if you're on the committee to bring a team to Salt Lake, maybe you don't want to do that with the A's, right?
The one thing, and there must be something in the contract that I don't know about, not that I know everything, but I would think the Players Association would throw a fit about the team moving to a temporary headquarters in Sacramento, which ain't that close to Oakland, for 3 years. 3 years, right? I don't know if I want to pull the kids out of school to move somewhere temporary before we end up moving to Vegas. I would think the PA would throw a fit about that, but what do I know? I'm just a small town bird lawyer.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting point. Yeah, for sure. Especially after you hear some of those stories from the Coyotes, right? From there.
Right. So bad. All right, so here we go. So the White Sox are facing a right-hander. I got it sorted right. So that's Shoeless Joe Jackson playing in center. This normally goes for them, and I've done a lot of White Sox lineups. It's usually Minnie Minoso in left, And then Ventura hits second. That splits my lefties up. Frank Thomas plays first and hits third. And then it gets kind of messy. But it looks like Ray Durham at second. Maglio Ordonez in right. Carlton Fisk catching. Here's a good stat, and I don't know if it's accurate anymore. You remember when Jose Ramirez punched out Tim Anderson last year, mid-year? Tim Anderson has not homered since that knockout.
Really?
I have to check. That was true like a week ago. I have to check Marlon's stats. But, I mean, if ever there was a fight that should have been stopped, man. Like, it broke his soul.
I mean, even Batista hit homered after that one shot, right?
That's right. All right. So, and then Luis Robert is their DH. All right. So there's Chicago, who's had a really good year. I'm sorry, White Sox fans, that the eternal baseball season is ending for your squad, because now you've only got the MLB squad to watch.
Yes, Rob made a comment on that.
Yeah, like where? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, and Tina had a good point too. Cleveland had an outstanding season, but they absolutely ran out of gas. So I got to believe they would have been one and done in the playoffs too. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, all right, good enough. All right, so Oakland. Giambi's been their best bat all year, and McGuire's not even active on the active roster. It's been so bad. Wow. So it's hard to get first base at bats with Giambi, McGuire, and Jimmy Fox. So it's a little tough out there in Oakland in a good way. Jimmy Dykes is valuable because he plays everywhere, and right now they need him at second. At puts. Oh, I'm sorry. Giambi usually hits third because they're so righty heavy. And that. Oh no, I got it wrong again. Jimmy Fox hits third. Giambi cleans up, and Mickey Cochran, who had 6 RBI on Sunday, is catching. Fox is better defensively than Giambi, so Giambi DHs. Canseco qualifies in left, which is weird because I only think of him as a right fielder. Al Simmons, who played mainly left but qualifies in center, and that lets us put Reggie Jackson in right. Poor Ricky Henderson, my favorite modern player, has had such a terrible year that he barely even cracks the lineup, but he's a bitchin' pinch runner. That puts Miguel Tejada at short and Matt Chapman at third, who's had a bad year, but that glove plays all day. So here we go, Oakland and Chicago. I got to look this up myself. Okay, an Oakland win here wraps up the AL West.
Second baseman, Jimmy Dykes.
Let's roll the dice here.
The final score from Guaranteed.
Oh, look at Chicago.
Wow.
All right.
Ray Durham. That's a name from the past.
Right?
Yeah, he had a good day.
Time of the game, 2 hours, 59 minutes.
Baines ran for Ordonez in the 5th. How slow do you have to be to have Harold Baines come out and be like, "Hey, Buzz, Skip says I'm coming in."
Skip sent me out, buddy.
It ain't personal, man. Talk to Skip. All right, so that Oakland loss keeps Minnesota's playoff hopes alive. If they can win, right? Minnesota loss would still give the division to Oakland. So now it's Minnesota at Milwaukee in the most Midwest series of all time. And this is, oh man, the big train. So it's Walter Johnson, who's, look at this guy. He's going to pitch on 3 days rest here, I think. But 24-11 with a 2.43. If you look at games started, you got to go way down to find the number 2 starter. Jim Perry with a 4.12, then Johan Santana with a 4.34, then Jim Cott with a 5.73. I mean, this is literally like,
look at Frank Viola.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the prom queen with 4 pigs, basically. Like,
tough year.
But it is the big train, Walter Johnson, and he's facing Brandon Woodruff. who's a redhead, so we like. And he's pitched a lot, but that's how it goes. So, against righties, come on, Richie Sexton's got to be available. We'll make him available, and we'll drop off Jeremy Burnett. Okay, so it's Sexton cleaning up.
Little bum we can't get Don Money in there.
Right? I mean, we can if we need to. It'd be him over Cirillo, but you could argue that it's debatable. But it is Molitor. It is Yount as a shortstop. The fact that Robin Yount is a 9-rated shortstop and an 8-rated center fielder, I mean, salute.
He was amazing.
Who's in the big leagues at either 18 or 19. Like, come on. Ridiculous. Cecil Cooper is eternally underrated. He'll play first. Ryan Braun be in the left. Yeah, this is Fletcher's got a good point here, Cameron. Money is rated higher as a fielder than Cirillo, true, but it's 7-6. And Cirillo has a 654 OPS versus Don Money's 610. So, like I said, you go either way on that. If Roto wants Don Money, we're going to get him some Don Money, baby. Let me tell you.
Let's see Don Money. I don't think it'll be
The Cirillo fans
grudges that one.
But love Don Money.
If there are any Cirillo fans, we need to hear from you right now.
Right? All the Cirillo
seconds.
fans just left the podcast. Christian Yelich is hurt, so that puts Dave Nilsson next at catcher. Carlos Gomez in center field. Right field will be Ben Ogilvy.
Jeff Cirillo was just on the verge of giving us some big MLB checks.
Right? He's not coming on the podcast.
Dang it.
All right, there's Don Money. All right, so over there at Minnesota, again, batting against righties. So Goose Goslin has been their best hitter by far all year, but he usually DHs. Mauer usually leads off and catches.
You can't get Dan Gladden in there.
Right? Or Steve Lombardozzi. Come on. Okay, Tony Oliva plays right. And then Puckett hits third because it helps me break up all these lefties and because he's Kirby friggin' Puckett. Heidi Manouche plays left. Harmon Killebrew at first because he plays a terrible third.
You getting Rod at second, or are you thinking?
Career usually plays second because they have so many options at first. And Knobloch doesn't hit righties as well, but Knobloch murders lefties. Knobloch hits cleanup against lefties. So,
oh wow, okay.
He may be off the bench. Gaetti at third, and then I know you've never heard of Cecil Travis. I haven't, but he's their shortstop. All right, Joe Mauer with an 11-game hit streak. Again, a Twins loss locks up the AL West for Oakland.
Pitching for Milwaukee, number 53, Brent Woodruff. Leading off for Minnesota, catcher, number 7, Joe Mauer.
Here we go.
The final score from Miller.
Heartache.
They derailed the big train.
Darn it.
He is now 24-12. Kirby Puckett hit home run number 17 on the season.
Hey, Puckett did his job.
Don Money hit number 5. Richie
Don Money hit one.
18.
Darn it. What was I thinking? Darn it.
It's your fault, Roto. You killed the Twins. You sent Kirby home. And if you haven't been paying super close attention to the show, Puckett, Roto's favorite player of all time. So
yeah, heartache.
So looking here, we're back here at the screen here, but now all the divisions are locked up in the AL East, and the wild cards are too. So follow me here. Yankees have the best record; they get a bye out of the first round with 109 wins. Detroit, second best record, 96. They get a bye out of the first round. Birmingham is the 3 seed. Oakland is the 4. So Birmingham will play the weaker wild card team. Excuse me, that's Boston. So it'll be Boston and Birmingham, best of 3 from Birmingham, all 3 games, starting up a little later this week. And then Oakland won the West. So they're essentially the 4 seed. They'll play the top wildcard team. That's Baltimore. So it's Baltimore at Oakland, Boston at Birmingham. And I say later this week because we don't know if we're going to have any one-game playoffs on Wednesday, but it's probably Thursday or Friday that the playoffs will start. Just pay attention to Facebook, to eternalbaseball.com. It's all there. Paul Molitor was there.
Welcome, Dick.
Molitor was leading off. All right. So next up, now that we got that taken care of, we got 2 games left. Giants at Cubs, Dodgers at Cardinals. We're doing pretty good on time here.
Yeah, not bad.
Speed round might be a new thing. We'll see. Okay, so it's Dodgers. This is the game of the night. I mean, come on. Dodgers, Cardinals. Cardinals are in the playoffs. They're going to be either wild card team or win that National League North. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. But whatever. We can play the games in whatever order we want. So this is, it says Rucker and Gibson. It's going to be Koufax and Gibson, which, come on now. Like, it's funny because that matchup actually, I think, used to happen every once in a while. And normally it's matchups like Ed Walsh and Pedro Martinez that I dig, right? But I mean, Koufax, Gibson, come on now.
There's some same era stuff. It's pretty darn cool.
I mean, just ridiculous good. So it's Koufax for the Dodgers. And then Bob Gibson, who hasn't been that great this year, 18-12 with a 4. Bear in mind that like a 4.25 ERA is the midline in Eternal Baseball because they're facing some really, really painful lineups to try to get through. The Cardinals are a little dinged up, but let's see how they bat against lefties. So it's Enos Slaughter, great name. Probably going to hit third because there's so many righties. Rogers Hornsby's. Wow, it feels like I should switch this. But Hornsby would be cleaning up, and Jack Clark would lead off based on
That's always strange. That's always strange to me.
Probably his first time leading off ever.
So Cameron says that they met 5 times, and Koufax took care of him pretty handily. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate the help from Cameron and Sabre.
Sabre's a great side.
Yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. So it might be Clark at first. We'll see.
Jeez, he had a 0.92 ERA.
Yeah, dude.
Lordy.
Yeah, well, Chick Hafey's really good, but hurt. So he's not going to play. So it'll give us Pujols. He's a better first baseman than Clark. So Clark might DH. Clark might also play. No, he can't play left. Can Slaughter play left? Yeah, Slaughter can play left. All right, so Slaughter moves to left. Clark moves to right, and that keeps our DH available. Stan Musial can play center. Stan Musial plays everywhere. Medwick is our DH. No, Mize is our DH. Johnny Mize.
It's a good lineup.
They're really good, right? Medwick doesn't play, but Molina will catch. So nobody's stealing today. And then it's Shane Dienst. Man, hope I said that right. Is an average shortstop. Boyer's a really good third baseman. But it's Frankie Frisch is okay. Actually, I think his defensive number needs to come down. That was something I was looking at this week. But it's got to be Ozzie at short.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Can't have the Cardinals cheating here. Who's not supposed to? We'll give Shane Dienst a sit. All right, now, Dodgers. So it's Duke Snyder and wow. Okay, so Reggie Smith is going to lead off. Roy Campanella, who's been fantastic, is going to catch. Zach Wheat will play left, who I'd never heard of before we started Eternal Baseball, but his numbers are completely off the charts.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Zach
Good
Wheat,
player.
great name. Gil Hodges at first. Just to split him up, we'll put Corey Seager next, then Ron Say, the Penguin. Babe Herman said, or I think it was a Saber article about him, said that loved to hit, but fly balls irritated him. He hated fielding. So, okay. And then Jackie Robinson, a second. Man, just Campanella, Jackie, Duke Snyder, Gil Hodges. Come on now.
So good.
Yeah, and Koufax is feeling right at home, probably, with a lot of his boys standing around.
Yeah, seriously, that's not too changed.
All right, so it looks like we're ready for baseball. I love this picture.
Gibson. Leading off for Los Angeles, right fielder, Reggie Smith.
This is one of my favorite ballpark pictures, right? Because I got no players on the field. I got people in the stands. I got the arch in the background.
It's
Just
perfect.
to the left of the arch, we're in line for the Royal Rumble. That's good.
Yes.
And
that was awesome.
We're ready for baseball. So we'll fire it up.
The final score from Busch Stadium, Los Angeles.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Got him again.
Koufax is the winner.
Koufax.
Now has 12 on the season. He is now 18 and 13. Duke Snyder hit home run number 31 on the season. Johnny Mize hit number 31. Eno Slaughter hit number 1.
Oh man,
Number
that is,
one.
3 hours, 8 minutes.
I love that the computer voice just casually said Bob Gibson is the loser, knowing now that Bob Gibson is going to come kill him. So, good for you. And don't buy a used car without checking your Koufax.
I was gonna say it.
So that Dodgers win hurts the Cardinals because if the Cubs win their game, Chicago wins that hyper competitive National League North, and that's our last game of the night, which is good because it's 9:55. Right?
There you go. We're timing it pretty well.
Yeah, it's working out, right? Here we go. And I guess Koufax had a thing against St. Louis. Okay, who knew? Yeah, what's your Koufax number? All right, so one last game. It's the Cubs can wrap up the National League North with a win over San Francisco. And if they do, the Cardinals will become the top wild card team. The Pirates have already locked up the second wild card spot. So this is with their skin in this game right here. San Francisco at Chicago. Another good ballpark. Okay. So this is Juan Marichal versus Ed Ruleback. Okay. San Francisco's pitching really let him down this year. One of my favorite bits, though, Christy Mathewson, who's been brilliant in every season. A little shaky this year with a 3.78 ERA. He's still won 19 games, 19 and 17. He'll go for a 20-win season again on Tuesday, because we're playing the Monday game. So today it's Marichal, though, against who that big Ed Ruleback. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so Cubs against right-handers. So it's Gabby Hartnett, who's been incredible, cleaning up. Billy Williams hits third. Who else? Oh, Ernie Banks usually leads off. Banks is a great shortstop, also a great first baseman. And because Javi Baez is playing with Cubs numbers, not Tigers numbers, he'll actually end up at short. So Ernie will play first. Phil Cavaretta can play all over. We'll see where he ends up.
That was a tough free agent signing for Detroit.
Yeah. It's funny for all those brilliant shortstops, right? Lindor to the Mets, he's been okay, but a lot of years left. Baez has been a pretty much flop.
Bogarts.
Yeah, Bogarts has disappointed in San Diego. Seager has been great in Texas.
That's true.
Especially in the postseason, but that's kind of his thing. I thought there was one more, but yeah, I remember.
Who are we forgetting?
As a Yankee fan, I wanted Seager. I wanted Seager bad. And they didn't sign him, but it was probably for the best because Volpe looks like he's going to play for quite a while. had a much lower salary. So it's Aramis Ramirez at third, Brent Rotundi All-Star, Hack Wilson staggers into center field.
I love Hack Wilson, all the stories. I mean, he had a kind of a sad ending. So
Yeah,
that
but
was
the
tragic.
fact that
But
he was like 5'10", 205 pounds, right? So he was this short, little, stubby center fielder
that just killed it.
that just murdered the ball.
Trey Turner. Thank you, Rob.
Trey Turner, there you go.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I wanted.
Us old dudes need a lot of help, man.
Right? I mean, we're trying to keep we're juggling a lot of things here, right? So Cabaretta probably ends up playing right field. Second base is Sandberg, of course. And then the DH, probably don't want to DH Contreras because that puts both our catchers in the lineup. It looks like it should be Kiki Kyler or Ron Santo or Anthony Rizzo, or look at this. King Kelly has gotten, we can't put King Kelly.
Dude, that would be so awesome.
let's see if he gets in on his own, right? Like he hot foots a guy and actually burns his foot.
Oh, be too good.
All right, so if I put Kyler in, who's actually a defensive upgrade in right, and that lets us DH Cabaretta, so it helps. All right, and then over on the other side, these Giants against a right-hander. Hey, look who leads the Giants in OPS against right-handed pitching. Imagine that. Barry Bonds with Will Clark hitting second. Freddie Lindstrom playing third. Kevin Mitchell DHing. There's no offense, Kevin, but aside from that barehanded catch down the line, I don't remember you for your defense. That puts Mel Ott in right field. Come here. There we go. Pablo Sandoval sits. Sorry, Pablo. Willie Mays hitting sixth. I know.
Hot foots have to be, I mean, generationally, those, I mean, that knowledge of that has to be non-existent, right? With,
yeah. Could you imagine?
From like anybody born in 95 on or something like
right?
that.
Let's just say you and I are big league teammates and buddies. And the buddies part is the realistic part. And you and I in the big leagues is ridiculous, but especially for me, who couldn't hit at all. But we might consider hot footing the other. And in the 80s, it would have been cool, and we would have gotten dinner after the game. Now, how long would it take our different agents to call the other? And go, look,
it'd be a Twitter war before then, right? Probably in the dugout, right?
Yeah. I know Webb's got some free time as the fifth outfielder, but Roto's in a free agent year. So let's not be setting my client on fire in the dugout. Thank you very much.
I mean, when was the last footage that or anecdote that you ever heard about hot footing? I remember, did that even exist, or is it something that's...
No, I remember Roger McDowell, who was a famous prankster on the Mets.
Okay,
was really good at it.
Oh, okay,
and he would like army crawl under the bench. And think about how nasty the area under the bench in a major league.
Just a team with Lenny Dykstra on it.
Well, with Dykstra, right? Guys spitting all over, seeds all over. But yeah, McDowell was the last guy I know was good at it.
Okay, so we were gonna say late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s probably.
Okay.
So Willie Mays in center. We need a catcher, a second baseman, and a shortstop. Shortstop is George Davis. The second baseman is Buck Ewing's hurt, so it's who's my shortstop? Oh, Davis can play second, I think. No, he can't. All right, so it's Buster Posey catching, and then we're going all the way down to Jeff Kent. Former
High Pockets Kelly.
Oh, he plays sir.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I thought he was just.
There we go. It's serendipitous.
Who knew? All right, here we go. Oh yeah, and also Roger McDowell was the second spitter. That's important to know. And your boy Hack Wilson had 191 RBIs. He just
How many?
kept swing-
How many do you think you remembered?
right? He just kept swinging at the ball in the middle. So good for him. All right, so here we go. So again, we've gone sideways, but we're back. A
Pocket
Chicago
Scully,
win.
dude. If
Right.
my pocket Scully beats him,
Right? King
Love
Kelly's
it.
so mad that he's not in the game, but his cousin High Pockets is, right? That sucks.
all right, here we go.
Leading off for San Francisco, their baseman, Freddie Lindstrom.
Freddie Lindstrom. All right, so let's roll the dice, see what comes up. Stratomatic.
The final score from Wrigley Field.
Oh, the Cubs.
Did it? Oh man,
So
that
that's
eighth
it.
inning.
Now 23 and
They went
Big eighth
nuts.
inning.
Lee is the loser. He is now 1-2. Mel hit home run number 26 on the season. Time of the game, 2 hours, 32 minutes.
So Juan Marichal got hurt in the second inning. That didn't help, and they had to go to their pen, and their pen didn't help. I love that
Bradley.
the short for blown save is BS. Because he kind of pitched like BS today, and Brantley had the double negative going on. Marichal had a plus going today, but we didn't get to see much of it. So who did the damage there?
Double net. That's like pitching with food poisoning or something. Like that.
Pretty much, right?
Or a
It's the
wicked
the
hangover.
Jordan game. Who knew? Unless you're David Wells, and then that's like a double plus. So with that, the Cubs wrap up the National League North. Let's take a look here. All the games for tomorrow have been simmed except the Boston game, which I'll get to. It's fine. But it doesn't have any playoff bearing. So here's how the National League shakes out. Chicago wins the North, and they are the best team in the National League. So they get a bye out of the first round. Philadelphia, with 94 wins, second best division winner. They get a bye out of the wild card round. Houston's still TBD, right? But they're going to be the weakest division winner. So we know that the number 3 seed, essentially, the West champion, LA Dodgers, they'll play the weaker playoff team, or wildcard team, sorry, which is Pittsburgh. So we'll have Dodgers, Pirates, and then St. Louis is the better wildcard team. So they will end up playing either Houston or Atlanta, depending on who wins the South. And that'll be decided on the last day of the season. That's Tuesday. And if the Braves win and the Astros lose, they'll have a 1-game playoff at whoever has the better head-to-head record at their ballpark on Wednesday. 1 game, 1 day. Winner goes on, loser goes home. We'll see if that's how it shakes out. But
That'd be cool.
I think we did pretty well. 10:06. That's not bad.
Yeah, well done.
So
There's a lot of clicking.
Yeah, I know, right? And I didn't do anything terribly wrong. So I'm pretty proud of myself. And let us know in the comments if you like this, rather than, I didn't want to pick a game that had no playoff significance when we had 8 games that might have. So I kind of like this tour around the league. Maybe we'll make it a tradition here on the last week.
Yeah, I like it.
It's good stuff. So anyway, stay tuned to Eternal Baseball on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, or X if you prefer. But again, everything we do you can find at eternalbaseball.com. Regular season wraps up Tuesday. If there are any 1-game playoffs, they'll be Wednesday. And then the actual playoffs will start either Thursday or Friday with those 4 series as we get rolling. And beyond that, if your team's been eliminated, you don't have someone to root for, we are still going to have our Cy Young Awards. We're going to have our MVP Awards. Will be up for discussion. We also give out fielding championships to the guys with the best fielding seasons at each position in both leagues. We'll put out season-ending stats so you can see exactly who did what for your favorite squad. And that'll lead us through the playoffs and into the off season. So again, thanks for joining us. This is probably the best stretch run we've had in 4 seasons.
Absolutely.
I love how many teams were active going right down to it. And still something left to decide. We'll find out on Tuesday. But until then, thanks so much for joining us right here on the Eternal Baseball Podcast.
Thanks, everyone.